What's up nakamas? For today, we are gonna be featuring a deck where my favorite card from OP07, the Black Secret Rare Sabo, is finding a home finally, I think. So I just came back from a tournament today in my local game store. I used this deck and finished 2-1. So I have been playtesting with Sabo for the past few days, testing it out in different decks, and I think so far this is the deck that I'm comfortable using. So the new Sabo, the Secret Rare, is an 8 cost 9k, and it has an on-play ability wherein we can get to discard a card from our hand. Then we get to KO a 5 cost and a 3 cost character from our opponent. And that is a very good ability. This can pretty much get rid of like 2 blockers in the late game, which can be very crucial. So today I used Moria as my leader. So we have our Dawn. Let's get it out of the way. So here are our Thriller Bark characters that we usually target for Gecko Moria's ability. 4 copies of Perona. This is a very strong card. It's a 2k counter and it has a pretty strong effect wherein on play, if our opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, either we give a -3 cost to a character or we let our opponent discard 1 card. And most of the time, I usually use the discard. 4 copies of Absalom, another 4 cost for 5k. This time, it's only a 1k counter. This acts as one of our removals, and we return 2 cards from our graveyard onto the bottom of our deck to KO a 2 cost or less character. Then we have 4 copies of Dr. Hogback. Again, 4 cost for 5k. The on-play effect for this is that same with Absalom, we will need to return 2 cards from our graveyard to the bottom of our deck. Returns any Thriller Bark card from our graveyard to our hand. 3 copies of Sindri. Usually I use this as a 2k counter, but in the early game, if you need to fuel your graveyard, the on-play effect on this is a very good effect to put the top 5 cards of your library onto your graveyard. 4 copies of Brand New. I'm still running some navies in the list, and the good thing with Brand New is that the cards that you won't get would be put into your trash. So 3 copies of Daifunka. This is Great Eruption, so it will be going away starting April, but I'm still using 3 copies of this. This is a very good card, giving you the much needed cost reduction, and it replaces itself. 3 copies of Ice Age. Enough said, this is a 1 cost that gives -5 cost, and it has a pretty cool trigger to KO a 3 or less character. A copy of Helmepo. So I love bringing this back off of the 8 cost Gecko Moria because it cares about a 4 cost and a 2 cost. We can return this as the 2 cost to reduce a character's cost and KO that using the Rob Lucci. 4 copies of Tsuru, again, has a cost reduction ETB effect, but we usually use her only as a 2k counter. 3 copies of Hina. I'm running Rebecca's in this deck, and Hina is just too good to not run when you are running Rebecca's. 2 copies of Kuzan, ETB replaces itself and on attack gives -4 cost. 2 copies of Rebecca. So it's really good to have like a Gecko Moria and target Rebecca and another 2 cost. Then as an additional effect, you can get Hina from your graveyard, drop it for free. 3 copies of the 5 cost Sabo, and the ETB effect on this one allows us to fuel the graveyard. So this is a very useful card for Gecko Moria. 3 copies of Rob Lucci. This is one of our removals along with the 4 cost Absalom. Last but not the least, 4 copies of the 8 cost Moria. Pretty solid body here, 9k body, and this has an ETB effect to reanimate. Allows us to refuel our board or get the effect that we need at a specific point in the game. So if we need a removal, we get a Rob Lucci or Absalom. Then if we need a blocker, we get Rebecca. And I'm happy that this didn't get banned. So that's it for this video. If you're still watching up to this point, then you're not just a nakama, but a super nakama. And I'm really thankful for that. Hopefully you learned something from this video and you can find this list useful if you want to playtest Sabo and if you have other decks that you are running. My favorite OP07 Sabo, and drop a comment on this video to let me know because I'm very much interested to try out different decks for Sabo. So thank you very much. Have a good day everyone and see you in the next video.